do you think this didn't work?
Because Mariah was holding the string.
Yeah.
So it can move to the corner, but the straw will hit her fingers and it will stop. So then she said, I'm gonna let go, and if she let go, it'll fling back like fast.
And so if it flung back, why would it still not work?
Because it can't go through the corner.
Okay, Mariah, what were you going to say? And then Allie, you can go next.
Okay, I had to hold my finger here because it would have just stopped here. So we might as well just try it and see if it would work.
Okay.
I didn't know if it would work or not, but if we got something to hold it, because the straw will hit my finger and it will stop. So if we found something to hold it, then it would work.
Right, because you knew what? What did you know from our last experiment? What would happen when it hit the chair?
It would stop.
So you already knew that that was going to be the option. So Allie, did you want to add next, and then Tyler, or it was taken? Okay, Tyler, what were you going to say? Okay, so you're thinking even if it made it all the way around, the knot would stop it then. Okay, so if I wanted this to go farther, what would I have to do with the string? If I wanted it to go farther than it did, what do I have to consider about the string?
When it gets close, you just switch fingers.
But when you switch fingers, what happened? If you were to switch fingers or pull it out, what's going to happen?
Even if you switch fingers like go like that and that, it
Yeah.
still drops.
It does. So what would I have to do if I wanted this to go further?
You might have to get like another person, so when it goes past, you lift your finger, but then, so like when it goes past and it's almost at your finger, have someone else grab it behind where it's already been, so it will stay out.
Okay. Anyone else have an idea if that would work, or if you have another one?
Can I be the person?
No, I want to know if there's another thought.
Actually, even though if you did it two hands, I can.
So it would still do it.
No, yeah.
No, not like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, but it's still going.
So if hold on, okay, Ella has a different concept, but Allie, is there another way that I could have gotten it to go further? I would have probably had to set this up differently. No matter how we try to turn the corner here, it won't turn, correct? It gets stuck. So what would I have had to do if I wanted to see how far this would go?
This is a very unrealistic plan that we probably wouldn't do in real life.
Huh?
If we could build it, and we actually knew how to build it, if you pull down the tape so there was a little hole where the tape wasn't, and there's a little mechanism here, this would be very advanced, so again, we could do it in a classroom. But when it slid by, it would slid straight past it, and it would be holding it out, and then slid straight.
Maybe you have to do some thinking about how the mechanism could work. What were you thinking?
Why don't you just like cut one on the side and just like have a string here and like tie it and just hold it, and on the side when I'm passing by,
Anyone else?
I have something to say about Rudy's.
Yeah?
If you were holding a string out, there would be like a part here, so it couldn't really go past.
Okay,
if
so
there was
this would
like
be a corner?
a knot there,
Okay.
get stuck.
What were you saying?
you can just go like this.
Yeah? What could you do?
On this side.
Yeah?
Like here.
Yeah?
Wait.
Yeah? What do you want to, what do you
Oh,
want
wait, never mind.
Okay. Can it turn this corner at all?
No.
No. So if I wanted to see how far it would go and it can't turn the corner at all, what other options do I have? I do like the ideas of building something to see if it can work, but what other options do I have? If I made the string longer, why would that work?
Because it go farther. Oh, but there's another.
Yes?
The straw would have to bend.
But if I made the string straighter and longer, this is 10 feet before it switches around. Tyler, if this is 10 feet before it switches, why would making the string longer help? Okay, but would I still curve it here if I made a longer string? What would I have done if I made a longer string?
If I I made a longer string, I would do it 20 feet.
Okay.
Because originally it said 20 feet, that's why it stopped there. So I would do 20 feet or 15 feet.
And if you were to do 20 feet, what do you expect would have happened? Jack, what do you expect would have happened if she had made a 20-foot one before she curved it?
Then it would just slow down and stop.
Okay. What do you expect would have happened, though, if this was 20 feet instead of 10? Maybe it would slow down and stop. Anyone else have an idea of what might have happened? Layla?
Probably would have went longer, but she would have to blow it out.
Okay. How can we ever keep the balloon size consistent, though? Well, so that it's not different each time. Because if we wanted to test it, how do we know that that Sky always blows it up the same amount each time? Do we? And does it matter that she blows it up the same amount each time? Why does it matter that she blows it up the same amount each time? Samit?
If she blows it up differently, one will go like, so if she blows it up like a little,
Yeah?
it will go like little
Yeah.
ways. If she blows it up a lot, it will like a little.
And how does all of this teach us anything about energy use? How does this teach us anything about energy use? Or about the potential for energy use, I guess I should say.
It teaches us like because you're putting air
Yeah?
into something, and when air goes into something, then it blows, it pushes things.
Okay.
And also, I have one more thing.
So if it pushes things, how does that help us with our understanding of energy use? Katerina? What kind of energy is it? Yeah, and so how does this help teach us about wind energy? Okay, and this isn't exactly what wind energy looks like because wind energy involves the wind turbines. But how does this possibly, Allie, teach us about the potential for wind energy? Yeah?
Electricity uses the air conditioning uses wind. Also with wind energy, it's not as strong as electricity, but it still like uses things. And it's like a natural flow.
So if we could get enough power coming from wind, what would that allow for us to do? We could get enough power coming from the wind, what would that allow for us to do? Tyler, what could we do if we could get enough power coming from the wind? Okay. Okay, and what could be done instead of using natural gas? And what would wind allow us to do then that natural gas does for us?
If you would heat our house or cool our house or
Okay, so we really need to see if there is some potential in wind actually doing things. Now, what I would be interested in knowing is, can we get wind to do more than just blow across a line? What could we try to get wind to do to prove to us that it has potential to, say, heat a house or be a replacement for electricity? What kind of test could we do instead?
This is maybe a bit unrealistic. Say you need to get a load from somewhere to another point that was not a lot farther away. If you get one huge, say balloon, it would have to be more specific. So if you had the huge balloon, it would be a new way to transport it from, say, here to down the street. It would be on long, wide and deep. And when it slid across it, it would be the huge balloon, and of course it would be a clamp on it, so it only let out what it needed to let out to go farther.
So if it actually did that, how could that help us with our understanding of energy conservation?
Then you can make stuff travel without using gas.
And why does that help us?
More